Hello, good afternoon, everyone, or whatever time it is where you are. Hope you're all well today. Today we are talking about the position of adverbs. So this was a request in a previous live stream. So here we are. Um, let's get straight into it. So thank you for joining me today, and hi to anyone who's watching the replay as well. Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to present. Let's reposition that a bit. There we go. So you can see more of the screen. Okay, so adverbs, first of all, just to kind of, anyone's not 100% sure what we mean when we say adverb. Adverbs are words that modify verbs. For example, hi Alexander, with my favorite profile picture, Walter from The Big Lebowski, one of the best characters in film history, in my humble opinion. So she drives carefully. Here, carefully is an adverb that modifies the verb drive. How does she drive? She drives carefully. Adjectives, you're very clever. So here, very is an adverb. It's an adverb of degree. How clever are you? Very clever. They also modify other adverbs. Sometimes you can have more than one adverb. He goes out quite often. So quite is an adverb of degree and often is an adverb of frequency. So how often? Quite often. Hi, Abby. How are you today? Must be morning where you are. They also can modify whole sentences. So happily, we won. It's a short sentence, but we won is a standalone sentence. So adverbs tell us how, when, where, how often, and to what extent. And so if you're not sure if something's an adverb, ask yourself the question, well, how? And the answer will be your adverb. When, where, etc. They can also express opinion and evaluation. So we'll look at those two at the end. We're going to go through each examples of each of these and talk about where they should be placed in a sentence. So let's do this. As always, I've got freezing cold hands. Yeah. Oof. Right. So we're going to start by talking about adverbs of manner. Okay, so I opened the door. No adverb in this sentence. I opened the door. Manner tells us how. How did I open the door? So let's see. Can you think of an adverb you might use in this case? Like, how would you open the door? I opened it. Let's just open silently. Yeah, nice. So I could say I open with silently. Where would you position it in the sentence, do you think? Would you say silently I opened the door? I silently opened the door. I opened silently the door, or I opened the door silently. What do you think? I opened the door silently. Yes. So I've gone for slowly, and you're quite right. Usually we position it at the end. So, So Abby says, I silently opened the door. Okay, it's also correct. Let's come to that. So the usual position here is at the end. I opened the door how? silently. But you can say, or in my example, I opened the door slowly, I slowly opened the door. It puts more emphasis on the adverb. So there's more emphasis here on the fact that I did it slowly than on the fact that I opened the door. So this happens as well. You can also say, let's take this off, slowly I opened the door. So it can appear in the first position as well. It's not so common in spoken English. It's more of a literary thing. It's designed to catch the reader's attention and make you curious. Like, ooh, slowly, what happened slowly? I'll plug in my computer. Should have done that before already. There we go. Yeah. So kind of a literary thing, that. Right. Now, some adverbs can only be positioned after the verb, or sort of, in this case, if there's an object like the door, I opened the door slowly, normally the adverb goes at the end. So examples are fast. You can say, for example, actualidad, hello. Fast, let's see, he ran fast, that's correct, but you wouldn't say he fast ran or fast he ran. It just, it sounds wrong. Well, badly, and also hard are examples of this. If you put them at the beginning, I mean, you'd be understood, but you would sound like this wonderful character. You'd sound like Yoda. Fast he ran, or well, she did in the test. So it would sound a little bit odd. Okay, so I don't know if any of you are Star Wars fans. I am, although I haven't seen any of the new films, like the newest ones, which is mad because they've been out for a while now. Okay, so these are the adverbs of manner. Let's see. We're going to move on and talk about adverbs of time now. Okay, so these tell us when something happened. I'm busy. Complete the sentence. Tell me when. When am I busy? Cool. I'm busy this morning. Yeah, every afternoon. Thank you. My name is, so the channel is English with M, and M is short for Emma. That's my full name, but you can call me M or Emma if you prefer. Okay, so I went with today. I'm busy today. Let's get together for lunch tomorrow, or I had 3 meetings yesterday. So nice. Excellent. Little bit of English, then you're in the right place to practice and learn more. So here you can see that we are usually at the end with adverbs of time. most of the time. But we can put them at the beginning. I can say, today I'm busy, or tomorrow let's get together for lunch, or yesterday I had 3 meetings. When we do this, there's a bit more emphasis on the adverb, which is typically the case. You know, the information at the beginning of the sentence is often where the emphasis lies. It's the sort of the important thing. Idris, good evening. Omar, no, I think. Is that you? Evening for you. It's 4:40 here, so it's afternoon at the moment. And it's a beautiful day today. The sun is shining, so I'm happy. I don't know about you guys, but well, being British, well, English, I'm obsessed with the weather. And it makes a difference to my mood. So on a lovely day like this, then I always feel a bit happier, a bit more cheerful, a bit more upbeat. So, which you can probably tell, you know, smiling more. My mum is always telling me that I need to be more enthusiastic in my, you know, my just the way that I am, and I say, well, you know, that's not me. Like, I'm enthusiastic, but I'm enthusiastic on the inside. So I'm not usually jumping around, waving my arms. Aha, Fabri, hello. I don't know how you didn't know. I post about it on Instagram and on YouTube. You need to make sure you've got the notification bell checked for if there's a channel you follow and you want to get notifications. Make sure you check the bell, and then you should get a notification when there's a live stream. Yeah, seasonal blues, seasonal blues. So let's talk about adverbs of place. So these tell us where. I work. Where do I work? Complete the sentence. I work there. Yeah, I wonder if that was my example. That you might have got exactly what I was thinking. Yes, you read my mind. I work there. Mildred, I work at home. Yes, actually, that is the truth. That is a fact. Ah, in Liverpool. Okay, nice to hear that England is getting some good weather today. Anyone who doesn't know, I'm in Spain. I live in the south of Spain, so we get a lot more sun than in England. I work at the shop. Yeah, I work distantly from home. In this case, we wouldn't say distantly. So this is a question of collocation. Rather than distantly, we would say, and this is an adverb, work remotely. This is an adverb of manner. How do I work? I work remotely or online. So I work there. Come here. Here and there are adverbs. They tell us where. There's a car park ahead. So where's the car park? Ahead. Aha. Yeah, so here in this sentence, I work hard for a living. Yeah, so hard is an adverb of manner. It tells us, well, is it manner or is it degree? It's degree, really. It tells us to what extent we work, I suppose. Could be seen as manner and degree. And hard, remember, follows the verb work hard. You can't say hard I work unless you want to sound like Yoda. Ah, cool. Nice. Nice, nice. Mildred, I won't ask you where you live. I know some people prefer not to give out information like that on the internet. But yeah, southern Spain. Nice. Nice, nice. There was a pool outside. So here you can see they're usually at the end. These adverbs are placed most of the time. But it can go at the beginning. We can say ahead there's a car park, or outside there was a pool. Um, this is it's more common in writing, in written English, than in spoken English, I would say. Aha, at work. Cool. I have no idea how to pronounce this name with a consonant cluster, PRZ together. Goodness me. Let's see if I can find out. Pronunciation. Sounds like a Polish name. Okay, so Przemek, I think. Watching from work. I apologize if I've butchered the pronunciation there. Is there such an expression, I am in work? Yes, there is, but it has a very different meaning to I am at work. So at work would be, I mean, basically it's an adverb phrase. It's telling us where you are in work. First, to understand this, I have to explain the opposite. So I'm out of work. This means that I am unemployed. So if you're out of work, you're unemployed. So if you're in work, you have a job, you are employed. Most of the time, you know, if someone asks you, where are you? You wouldn't say, I'm in work. You'd say, I'm at work. The plan didn't work. Yeah. So here we have another meaning of work, which is to function. If something works, it functions. I just want to talk to you a little bit more about here and there, because they can go. So we had here, they're at the end position. I work there, not there I work. But we can use them at the beginning in some circumstances. So it's very common to say, here comes John. You know, you can see John approaching, coming towards you. Or there is the bank. There's the bank over there. So they can go in the front position. And in this case, we've got inversion happening, because without the adverb, you wouldn't say comes John. You'd say John comes. And you wouldn't say is the bank. You'd say the bank is. So where here or there come at the beginning of the sentence, you have to invert. So we don't say here John comes or there the bank is, but we do say here he comes and there it is. So when it's a pronoun like he, she, it, we, or they, there's no inversion. We don't say there is it, but there it is. So a little point about those. Here comes the sun, yes. Fabulous. frequency. So talking now about adverbs of frequency. I travel by train. Complete the sentence. How often do I travel by train? So, yeah, Beatles song. I do love the Beatles. Yeah, so you guys, Hideaki, Mildred, you have what we call a couple of ways to say this. You've, I guess, let's say, jumped the gun is an idiom that means, I guess, that you've moved ahead. So you've gone faster than me. When we have every day or every month, these are what we call adverbial phrases, and their position is slightly different. So we're going to talk about just the adverbs, and then after that, we'll look briefly at the adverbial phrases. So, yeah. I travel by train occasionally. So here we've got it at the end. I often travel by train. Here we have it between the subject and the verb. So let's look. I have said, so Abby, you read my mind. I often travel by train. But is it wrong to put it at the end? Let's see. So occasionally, we occasionally go to the cinema. We'll come to other positions in a moment, but what about when it's the verb to be? Do we say he often is late or he is often late? Which sounds right to you? No. Yeah. I like to travel by train if there's nice scenery. In England, train travel isn't usually that much fun. The train service tends to be bad, like outside London. Yeah. Okay, so you've all got it. You've all got it. And I've gone with rarely in this case, he's rarely late. So, or I am always cold, which, you know, is true. I am always cold. In Spanish, we say friolera. So I'm like a cold person. We don't really have a word for it in English. We have to use a phrase, and we say, usually, I feel the cold, or I'm always cold. You can say, I'm a cold person, but that can also be taken to mean in your kind of attitude, you know, like the way you are to others. So, usually before the main verb, but before the verb to be. Oh, that's a mistake. After the verb to be. After the verb to be. No. Mistake. After the verb be. Let's correct that. Okay, apologies for the error there. So after the verb to be, not before. Okay, but we can put it at the beginning. We can say sometimes he's late, and also at the end, he's late sometimes. When we do this, there's sort of emphasis on the adverb, it's less common. So more often than not, you have it in the position before the main verb or after be. One thing to point out here is that never and always are not used at the beginning or the end. So I wouldn't say always he's late, or he's late always, or never he's late never. It sounds weird, although it would of course be understood. Violento, nice. Similar. Right, let's get off this page with my mistake. Okay, and have a little look at the adverb phrases, sorry. So I go swimming, and you guys have already pointed out that those go at the end of the sentence. So I go swimming every day. You can put it at the beginning. You can say, every Saturday I go swimming. But every Saturday go swimming is not correct. So let's see. Usually it goes at the end, but you will hear it at the beginning as well. And typically, if you're placing it at the beginning, you're giving a bit of extra emphasis there. Just to give you a few more examples of these adverbial phrases, things like once a week or once a month, once a year, or twice a day, twice a week, every other day, or every other week, which would be, for example, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So not every day, but every other day, skipping over. So these go at the end typically. Okay, let's talk about degree now. To what extent? I like this. So, how much? This is what we're thinking. How much do you like this? So let's answer the question. Okay. So I like this much. This one, we need another word here. Yeah, I quite like this, something like that. So here we have it before the main verb, so sort of fairly typical position. The film is long. Where would you put the adverb in this case? Like, to what extent is the film long? Long, but how long? Yeah, so you could say really long. So here I've gone with too long, with the sort of negative. It's too long. In fact, I was going to watch Oppenheimer the other day, but it was already quite late. And when I saw that it was 3 hours, I thought, oof, no, that's too long. Like for that occasion, I'll watch it some other time when I have more time. So you can see in the first instance, I really like this. Really is modifying the verb like. And in the second sentence, to is modifying the adjective long. In both cases, the adverb appears directly before the word that it modifies. So that was interesting. How interesting was it? What do you think? Ah, nice. In this case, if something painfully wonderful, but we wouldn't say too as well. We just say this film is painfully long. Yeah. Hi, Oleg. That was very interesting. Exactly. So again, we have the adverb. I've gone with extremely. Aha. So Abby, you read my mind. Hideaki, incredibly interesting. Yep. Nice. So again, right before the word that it modifies. So I'll just take this down. She's well educated. So we already have an adverb in this sentence. Well is an adverb, but we're going to have another adverb telling us how well, to what extent, to what degree. What kind of word, what kind of adverb could you insert here? Yeah, quite interesting. Nice. And it's funny, quite is an interesting one because usually on a scale, quite is less than very. But sometimes when we say, "Oh, it was quite good" or "quite interesting," we use it in the same way as very sometimes. So you sort of, and how do you know? You can tell by the speaker's sort of tone of voice and facial expression. Like if I said, "Well, it's quite interesting," like, whereas if I said, "Oh, that was quite interesting," so that's how you know. Okay. Fairly well educated, nice. Unbelievably well educated. Yeah. Impressively educated. Sorry. Recently, I seem to constantly have a frog in my throat, as we say in English. When I talk, obviously, I talk too much. So she's, ooh, nice. Undisputedly well educated. I like that. Cool, cool. What did I go with? I went with quite. Yeah, she's quite well educated. And so I could be saying, oh, she's quite well educated, or I could be saying, quite well educated. So, depending on the context. Okay, so usually these adverbs go before the word that they modify. There's an exception, and that is with a lot. So that goes at the end. I like this a lot, meaning very much. We wouldn't say, I like a lot this. Or he goes out a lot, meaning very often. So a lot can either mean very much or very often. Um, yes. She's properly well educated. Yeah. Yeah. Properly well, they don't usually go together. I would normally say one or the other. She's properly educated or she's well educated. Because really, they sort of mean the same thing. You could use both if you wanted to emphasize. Here we have this one, bloody, which in the past used to be considered very much blasphemous because it relates to the blood of Christ. So it was considered to be a swear word, bloody. Like I wouldn't have said it in front of my grandmother, for example. She wouldn't have liked that. Nowadays, a lot of the words that used to be considered offensive for religious reasons are actually used very commonly. Like people say, "Oh my God," uh, and nobody blinks an eye. Whereas in the past, that was deemed to be quite impolite. But yeah, so bloody works with everything. It's bloody cold today. That was a bloody good film. Um, I don't know that I'd say she's bloody well educated. Bloody well. It like because when you put bloody and well together, it has a sort of different feel to it. When we say to someone, for example, like you'd bloody well better do it, for example, means that you need to do it, or there'll be consequences. So this bloody well is used in that kind of way. Yeah. Well enough education. She's well enough educated. Enough usually goes at the end. So like, she's educated well enough, you might say. Yeah, she seems to be well educated. As far as we can tell. So I'm slow behind the comments. Vitali, hello. It's all right, we're still going. I think we've got two more. We're going to look at opinion, adverbs of opinion, and also of evaluation, finally. And then we'll stop. I was sort of aiming for around 45 minutes, so let's crack on. Right. I think that's a great idea. Can anyone think of an adverb that you might use here to sort of like relating to opinion? Yeah. Honestly, nice. So I think that's a great idea, honestly. Let's have a look. We don't normally put it at the end like this, in this end position. Purportedly, ostensibly, yes. So I've gone with, personally, I think that's a great idea. Some people think that this personally is nice, genuinely. That personally is redundant, because if you're saying I think, then you're giving your opinion. We don't need to say personally, but it's very common. We do this a lot. There's lots of examples in English where we do this. We use words that are redundant, like when we say it's freezing cold. You don't need to say cold after you've already said freezing, but we do. So, or like whence. I don't know if you've maybe I did a short video on whence quite a long time ago now. People often say from whence he came, but the from is redundant because whence means from where. So you should just say whence he came. Soaking wet, yeah, it's another example. You can just say soaking. Soaking means very wet. So why do we feel the need to say wet as well? So personally is a bit redundant, but very common. So that's why I've chosen it as an example. Or frankly, I don't think it will be possible. So to be frank, sort of, to bluntly tell you my honest opinion. And we use frankly often when we are saying something that we think our audience maybe won't like if we're disagreeing or we're saying that something can't be done. So these usually go at the beginning outside the clause. So you can see the comma there, personally, comma, frankly, comma. And there's often a pause in the speech. Well, frankly, I don't think it will be possible. The unvarnished truth, yeah, if you're being frank. Sometimes people use a phrase as well, and they say, to be frank, which is a little like, to be honest, but yeah, maybe a bit more like a blunt instrument. Boof, I'm going to be frank. I'm going to tell you exactly what I think, the unvarnished truth. I'm not going to soften it, like that. So now we can put it after the subject like this. Well, I personally think that's an excellent idea. Or I frankly don't think it will be possible. When we do this, it's a bit more formal. So yeah, formal contexts here. And I don't think I've sort of included this, but yeah, we can put it at the end. Well, I think that's an excellent idea, personally. Well, I don't think it'll be possible, frankly. That's more conversational, so it would be the opposite, sort of informal, when we put it at the end. So adverbs of opinion at the end, conversational. Music off, hello. Huh. I'm going to shoot you straight. Yeah. I don't know if I've heard that one. It might be more of a US thing. Hi, Cassandra. I'm going to shoot you straight. So we're going to move on to our final one now, which is adverbs of evaluation. So they lost. Imagine you've been watching a match, like a football match or a rugby match or something, and one team has lost, and you want to kind of give an evaluation of that. Can you think of an adverb? They lost at last. Hi, Cassandra. They lost at last. Yeah, at last would be like you wanted it to happen. Ah, at last. I've been waiting for them to lose, and finally they lost. So you might say this if the team was always beating your team, and you know they always won, and finally at last they lost. So you could say that. So I have gone with unfortunately. Unfortunately, they lost. Miserably, nice. Miserably has a bit of a different feel to it. They lost miserably would be like to a great extent. Like, imagine a game where your team loses, like, what should we say? Like 6-0 or something. Then you would say, oof, they lost miserably. Well, you know, if you get a really bad mark on a test or something, you say, oh God, I've failed miserably. Failed a lot to a great extent. Shamely. We wouldn't use, like, shamely doesn't exist. We'd say, probably just say sadly, sadly or unfortunately, but not shamely. So music off, music off. I do teach private classes, so you can, I'll just put my email in there. So. Yeah, so if you are interested in private lessons, just drop me an email there and we can talk about it. So, yeah. So unfortunately they lost, or amazingly he passed the test. So here I think it's a surprise that he passed the test. And we can also put it in this position. You could say they unfortunately lost, or he amazingly passed the test. So here we go. Usually at the beginning, but they can go after the subject as well. Yeah, surprisingly, he passed the test. Shamefully, nice. They shamefully lost. Yeah, if they shamefully lost, that would be kind of, yeah, a big defeat. Like they lost badly. Like it's embarrassing to the extent to which they lost. Regrettably, I like that. Regrettably, they got walloped. So this is an interesting combination because regrettably, as you rightly say, is formal, but then they got walloped. This is informal. So you wouldn't normally hear the two together. To wallop someone is to hit them hard. So yeah, when we were kids, my big brother used to wallop me quite often. So yeah, they got walloped, they were defeated. Unsurprisingly, yeah. Unsurprisingly. What else? You can also put it at the end. They lost, unfortunately. He passed the test amazingly. And sort of as mentioned with the opinion ones, when we do this at the end, then we're being sort of informal. So it's more common in spoken English. Okay, so actually that was our last one. I've been talking now for a long time. I have a class actually in 12 minutes with hi Hara, in case you're watching. So okay, I hope that you guys learned something new today, and as always, it was fun. And so I say, yeah, thank you for coming. Thank you to everyone watching the replay. Thank you to everyone who is supporting the channel, all my channel members, and yeah, fabulous. Hideaki, thank you. Thanks, Alexander. I'll see you guys. Actually, next week will be a members only live stream. So the live stream for everyone will be the week after next. So, but I'll post about that in on my community page. So keep your eyes open. Bye, Jesus. Likewise. Cool. Woo. Bye, everybody. Vitali, always a pleasure. Fabri, thank you for coming. Cool. Right, I am off now.